Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Jackie, and let's get started. DIY number one is a DIY that is inspired by something that Heidi Samble created on her channel, and she mentioned that she was inspired by Shannon over at the Daily DIYer. So I'm going to take 10 tumbling tower blocks, and I'm going to paint half of them with the Waverly Antique Wax, and the other half I will leave natural. And now here I'm going to arrange them in the order of my family. So my husband and I, we have a blended family. When we married about 13 years ago, I had 6 children from my previous marriage, and he had 2 children from his previous marriage. So altogether we are 10. So here are all our children, and I'm going to have them actually arranged by height, believe it or not. So, and now these little blocks are going to represent our grandchildren. So there's 5 of them, the taller one being the oldest daughter, our granddaughter. And so now I'm going to go in with some jute twine, and I'm going to just wrap the bottom part. And Heidi Samble, she did this with her little family, and it was super cute. And I thought, oh my goodness, I have to do this. I totally have to do this. And I love the jute twine, so oh my goodness, I just fell in love. So my jute twine is a little bit different than hers. She had hers more spread out. I had mine more gathered, just because the bottom wasn't even on this, and I didn't have access to cut that little piece there on the bottom. But you'll see how I end up remedying that. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of the little beads, and I'm going to hot glue those and give us all little heads. So I do the bigger heads for my husband and I because we're older, and then I do the mid-size heads for all our children, which are all grown up now. They're all grown and out of the house. We are empty nesters. And then of course the teeny tiny little beads, they're going to go on to our grandchildren, our oldest being 7, almost 7, and then the others are just the little toddler little boys, rambunctious, full of energy little boys, all 4 of them. So I'm just gonna go in and put our little heads on there, go in with some wood filler, and I'm going to fill in the little holes on the heads, because I'm not crazy about us having holes on our heads. So I'm just gonna go in with some wood filler, and now I'm just going to lightly sand off any excess, and I'm not gonna paint the heads, I'm gonna leave them natural. Okay, so here is a wood puzzle from the toy section of the Dollar Tree, but this thing is wood. So I'm gonna go in with some antiquing wax, and I'm going to get it all covered and remove the excess, and look how nice. And this is going to be the backdrop to my little family. I don't want to, that's not a sculpture, what do you call it? It would be grouping, yeah, maybe grouping, or artistic piece, I don't know. Anyway, I hot glue it onto there, and now I'm going to add a few more tumbling tower blocks to help make everything a little bit more even on the bottom. And I'll just set those in a little cube just to make it even, so it won't look too odd. And I'm liking the way it's looking. So now I'm going to take some of the laser cut craft pieces, and I'm going to take one of the pretty hearts and another tumbling tower block to make the heart stand out a little bit more, and I'm going to glue that little heart on there. And I'm going to take some of the words, some of the laser cut words, and I decided for it to say Forever Family. And I'm taking a couple of the galvanized letters, and I'm going to take the M, which is in one pack, and take the Y, which is in another pack. So it's going to say My Forever Family. And I'm loving this. Look at this. This is so cute. So now I'm going to glue everything in place. And look how cute. My Forever Family. Oh my goodness. I'm so proud of my little family. Well, it's not so little. It just keeps growing. So now I'm going to make a little tiny bow for my granddaughter. And Heidi Samble, she did this for her daughter. So I thought, yes, I want to do that for my granddaughter. So put a little bow on her. Didn't put it on my daughters because, well, they're grown women. They don't really need a hair bow. So now I'm taking some of these greeneries pieces that I had left over from my wildflowers, and I put those on there, and a few of these little burlap flowers that came from the fall, but I love the natural look of it, and a little bow that I put on the very bottom center just to help cover up a gap. And I'm done. I'm loving it. I'm so loving it. So this is my version of the little family grouping made with tumbling tower blocks, a recreation of Heidi Samble's little family grouping that she was inspired by Shannon over at the Daily DIYer. When I saw this, I knew I had to make one of these for my family, and I love it. So now we're going to work on the next DIY, and I'm going to use about 48 of these tumbling tower blocks for this second DIY. I think it was 48. So I'm going to take some Aleene's tacky glue, which is my favorite glue to adhere these tumbling tower blocks onto each other. Wood on wood, I really like the Aleene's tacky glue. Okay, so here I have all this already glued together, and now I'm turning around some of these little bundles, so I'll have some blocks going vertical and some blocks going horizontal in a pattern. And so now I'll glue 4 of these onto each other to create 4 blocks, and I'm using the same Aleene's tacky glue. So I'm just gonna glue these, and now I'm setting them all up in a diamond shape because I'm going to use some painter's tape and start blocking off some of the areas that I don't want paint, because I'm about to paint some of the areas white and then leave some of the areas natural. So I'm trying to figure out the kind of pattern I'd like. Okay, so now I'm trying to get it to where I can paint it easily, and I'm taking some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color white, and I'm just gonna go for it. Paint them all up. And now I'm going to set them aside so they'll dry, which they don't take long because it's chalk paint. Okay, so now I'm going to create the hanger that all these little triangles, well, they're not so little, these hangers will hang on. And I'm putting a little dab of glue on the end of the jute twine so I can thread all these beads through. And I think I use 8 beads. It's either 8 or 10, I don't remember. But I use 2 to go in between each triangle, and then 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. So I think it was 8. Okay, so here I'm going to create a quick tassel, and I like to use my hand. I just kind of open my hand a little bit, and I just go around and form the tassel and snip off the excess. I'm taking the jute twine that's part of the hanger, and I'm looping it through, and now I'm just going to create the knot that goes around the tassel, snip off the excess, keep going around it, and then tying it off in a double knot. And once I get the double knot done, then I'll just cut open the tassel portion on the bottom, and I'll trim off any uneven excess that's on there. So here I'm just gonna pull it and make sure it's nice and tight, and make sure it's gonna hang nice, and I trim off the excess, and my little tassel is done. I thought about making it a little bit longer, but I think this thing is gonna be long enough. It's gonna be long enough. Okay, so now I'm taking 2 of my beads and I'm going to thread them back through the excess jute twine, and that's going to help secure those 2 beads to the end, to the bottom of the tassel, as you can see here. So now I'm going to get my triangles and I'm going to remove the painter's tape, and this is so satisfying. So, but 3 of them came out perfect. It's just the one. It's just the one that kind of ran a little bit. So I'm just kind of placing them, trying to organize them and figure out which way I want them. I was so indecisive with this project. I was just like, I don't know. But I think the outcome came out perfect, so I was happy with it. But yeah, it's a process. It's definitely a process. So now I'm taking some of these craft icons, and I'm taking one of the words, these laser cuts, and I'm going to take the love one. And yes, I know Valentine's is over, but you know what? We love all year long, don't we? And it's a neutral color, so it goes with my home decor. And I'm also going to take a heart, and I'm going to take a key, and then I'm also going to take a little clock. So it kind of has a theme, you know, love, hearts, key, time. You know, that's kind of what I was going for. So I think this is going to be super cute. Okay, so the love one, that's the one that's a little bit messed up, but I'm fixing it by putting that love on there. So I'm covering up the part that got messed up with the paint. And now look, you can't tell it was messed up. It's perfect. And I'm adding the little clock, I'm adding the little heart, and I'm adding the little key. I put a little too much glue on there, so I had to remove a little bit of it. So now I'm setting those aside, and I'm going to begin to attach it to my hanger, my jute twine hanger, and I'm going to create a loop to make the actual hanging part, and I'm threading it, the excess, through 2 of these beads to help secure it in place, and I'll add a little dab of glue to help secure it even more so it doesn't slip down, and I'll just pull it and I'll go ahead and start attaching my triangles. So I'm going to begin with the love one. I want the love one to be on top, so I'm gonna hold the little loop portion with the tumbling tower blocks up top. I'm gonna add some glue, and I'm gonna set the triangle. Well, it's not a triangle, it's a diamond. I kept saying triangle, it's a diamond. So I'm gonna add the diamond on there and put the glue and help adhere it with my little silicone spatula, and I'll continue this process with the rest of it. So now here I'll pull up 2 more of the beads, and then I'll pull the jute twine, get my next little diamond, add the glue, set it down, put the jute twine on it. Okay, so now with my 4th one in place, I'm going to pull the jute twine and make it a little shorter and pull up the 2 beads and the tassel so they'll be nice and snug against the diamond. And I'm snipping off the excess jute twine and then gluing it to the last diamond, and I'll glue it well and make sure it's nice and adhered, and it's done. So I'm going to begin with 2 of these Dollar Tree candle holders. Okay, so I could have kept them white, but I decided to go away from the white this time, and I'm going to paint them in this Waverly chalk paint in the color Celery. So it's like a real light, pretty green. So I'm just going to do 2 coats of this light green, and voila, here they are. Nice and pretty. I didn't do the very bottom and I didn't do the inside, but I just did the outside and the top. Okay, so now I'm going to take some floral foam and I'm going to cut it with one of these 5-in-1 painter's tools from the Dollar Tree. So it's supposed to do 5 different things, but as long as it cuts my floral foam, that's all I care about. I'm good. So it works pretty good. It slices right through it like butter. Okay, so here are some greenery that I'm going to use. And so I'm going to use one of these picks, the mini roses, and one of these greenery bouquets. And I'm going to go ahead and snip off all the stems because I'm going to utilize both of these picks into both of these once candle holders, and now they'll be vases. So I'm going to go ahead and also snip off some of these mini roses because they're pretty lengthy. So I'm going to cut them in half so I can make the arrangements a little bit more full and not so lengthy. Okay, so now here I am adding my florals, and there's really no rhyme or reason. I am not a florist. I just do my best to make it look pretty like I would like it. So I'm just going to keep adding. And as I'm getting done, I'll just go ahead and tell you I've only spent about $4 to do this. $1 each on the candle holders and $1 each on the 2 different picks that I ended up dividing and filling both of these candle holders, which are now vases. And here they are. Here's my inspiration piece, and here's mine. What do you guys think? This is a West Elm item, and so these are a grouping of 4 beautiful vases. And so I'm taking these 2 kind of funny looking vases from the Dollar Tree, and this one even has a chip on it, but you know what, that's okay. I'm going to work with it. So I'm going to take these 2 little vases and I'm going to try the old baking soda and paint trick. And I'm going to use a chalk paint. And I know usually you use an acrylic paint, but this chalk paint is pretty thin. It's not as good as the Waverly, so I figure if anything it'll just make it thicker. So I'm going to add, I don't know, I didn't measure, I just kind of poured some in there, just enough that I thought would be good. And so now I'm mixing it with a spoon. Probably I should have measured it with a spoon. It's probably what I should have done. But anyway, it worked out. I just kind of guesstimated it. Little dab of this, little dab of that. Yeah, you know, kind of like the way I cook. Okay, so now I'm taking this brush and I'm going to go ahead and brush the whole little vase with this baking soda chalk paint mixture. And I do 2 coats on each, and I also fill in that chip part on the top. So I do this, and so here they are, looking pretty. So now I'm going to take some painter's tape and I'm going to go around the outside of it and go all the way around with it so I can paint the bottom portion a different color and do the color blocking. So I'll leave the top portion in the white and I'll do the bottom portion in a different color. And I was thinking of doing a different kind of design the way the inspiration picture was, but I don't know, I don't have very good luck with really intricate designs, so I just figured a nice basic kind of color blocking design would probably work best for me. So now that I have them ready to paint, I'm going to take some Waverly chalk paint in the color Hazelnut, and I'm going to go ahead and paint the bottom portion with this paint, and I'll do that to both of these vases. Okay, so here I'm finishing up. Here's the second one, and I'm going to go ahead and flip it upside down so they'll dry nice and pretty without getting messed up. And once it dries, then I'm going to remove the tape. And so here's the best part. We all love to remove the tape. Now remember, this has a texture now because of the baking soda. So my lines aren't as crisp as I would like them to be. But you know what? I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it because it gives the vases some interest. Yes, that texture kind of prevented the lines to be crisp, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm not mad at it at all. So now I'm taking some of these cotton stems from the Dollar Tree, and these were available in the fall time, but I still had them, so I'm just going to utilize them. I just figured the color combination went really well with the way I have the vases now. So I just cut these and put them in the vases, and pretty much I'm done. And so the original inspiration piece, they were $17 each, and these ended up being $2 each. $1 for the vases each and $1 for the stems each. So $4 total. So these are $17 each minimum, and then these are mine, $4 total. What do you guys think? I'm going to try to replicate this Hobby Lobby wall vase, and so I'm going to take one of these wall vases from the Dollar Tree, and I will tell you, this sticker is hard to remove. Oh my goodness. Yes. So I had to get the heat gun, and I had to work it and pull and work it and pull, and even the last little piece, it took me a little while to get it off, but oh my goodness, I've never have had to remove a label off of a Dollar Tree item like this. This was a challenge in itself. But yes, finally it came off, and I removed the hanger that's on the back, and it just comes right off. And so now I'm going to go in with some of this Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant, and I'm going to take this dabber that I have, and I'm just going to dab and kind of smear, because this metal looks a little bit too new, too shiny, and I want to dull it up a little bit. So here now I'm going to take some more of this floral foam, and I'm going to slice 2 slices so I can hot glue on the inside. And so I'll place one going one direction and one going the other direction, and you'll be able to see a little bit better here. I kind of put there, you can see it. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to begin adding some of these succulents. So I have these longer succulents from the Dollar Tree, and I like them because they're bendable. You can bend them real easy. And then this one that's really pretty, and then this little one with the clip, and then this little one that's in the pot. So I remove the one that's in the pot, and I remove the alligator clip off the smaller one, and now I'm just going to assemble and put them in. And I'm going to bend them and kind of twist them to give them a little bit of life, so they'll look like they're naturally kind of flowing down the vase. So now I'll add the remaining pieces, and I'll put the hanger back on with the knot in the back this time instead of the front, and make a nice knot, make it nice and secure so it'll hold it just fine up on my wall. And I'm pretty much done, except for the front looks a little bit bare. So I went through my stash and I found this wall decal set, and so I'm taking the blessed off, and I'm gonna put blessed on the front, and pretty much I'm done. Okay, so here's my inspiration piece, Hobby Lobby, $29.99, and here's my piece, $6. What do you think? Okay, so I don't know why, but I have a fascination with picking up glass at thrift stores and yard sales. So this candlestick, I picked it up at a yard sale, and these glasses at a thrift store. So first thing I'm going to take is my candlestick, but I'm going to go in with some Waverly chalk paint in the color truffle, and I'm going to accent it with the color hazelnut. So first I'm going to get the truffle paint, and I'm going to paint this whole candlestick with this truffle paint except for the very top and the underneath. And I'm just gonna dry brush it. Okay, so here's the top that I did not paint, and so here's where I'm gonna add the wood slice. And so I'm gonna go in with some E6000 and put a pretty good amount, generous amount, and I'm just gonna lay my little wood slice on top of it. And that's it. I'm gonna let it dry. So I'm gonna set it aside, try to center it. Okay, so now here are my thrifted glasses, and I'm going to put them upside down, and I'm going to wipe them real quick with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, just to make sure that they're nice and clean, and so that the E6000 would hold well. So now I'm going to get my little knobs, and these I purchased off of Amazon, and I believe I got about 12 of them, and I think I paid like $12. So what, $1 a knob? Look how beautiful. These are beautiful. Wow, so elegant, so glam. Perfect for a celebration for sure. Perfect to house your beautiful, elegant birthday cupcake or celebratory cupcake. Okay, so again, I'm going to go in with the E6000 and add a little bit of glue. And it's just as easy as just putting the glue on there and centering the little knob. And that is it. Now I just put them on top of my candle holders. So these candle holders are from the Dollar Tree, by the way. And they just fit perfectly with these particular glasses. And here's my thrifted, or should I say my yard sale candle holder, and my thrifted glass with my Amazon knob and my Amazon wood slice. And that is it. They are done. What do you guys think? Okay, so I'm taking one of these Dollar Tree chargers, and this one happens to be the gold one, but they do have silver one, but I couldn't find the silver one, so I'm going in with some Waverly Elephant chalk paint, and I'm going to cover this whole charger with this paint. And the only thing about it is it's a little bit dark for me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with some of the white chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to use a dabber and just dab, kind of like dry brush, but just dab in different areas. And so I go ahead and just keep dabbing and blending until it's all blended, and so it'll look a little bit lighter. And I wasn't really going for any other effect other than the fact that I want it to be a little bit lighter. But I do this process twice, and I'm liking the effect. I'm really liking it. So now I'm taking some of these bamboo utensils, cooking utensils from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to go in with some black chalk paint, and I'm going to paint them all in the black, both of them. And I'll do the front and I do the back. And now I'm going to go in with these decals from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to spell on the charger the word eat. Okay, so now I'm just going to glue these utensils onto the chargers, and I'm really liking the contrast of the gray with the black. Now I'm just going to put a dab of glue on the top of the charger to adhere the bow and press it, and that's it. I'm pretty much done with the front. Now all I need to do is create a little hanger for it. So I'll flip it over and I'll add a little bit of jute twine with a little bit of glue, and that's it. I'm done. Well, I do remove the little tag that's on the back. We don't need that. So yeah, just that's it. This one is all done, looking super cute, and I'm really happy with it. I think it came out really cute. And for these, I'm using these wooden puzzles that are in the children's toy section, and I'm just going to first hot glue all the puzzle pieces in place because I don't want them falling off. So these puzzles, they're all wood. Yeah, and they're nice size, and they're pretty thin too for signs, so they're pretty good. So I'm going to go in with some white chalk paint, and I'm going to put a little dab here and a little dab there, and then the same brush that I used to do the charger, I'm just going to go ahead and do these signs. So one will be a little bit darker gray, and the other one's going to be a more lighter gray because most of the paint off the brush is pretty much done, is pretty much gone. So one sign will be a little darker than the other, but you know what? I'm not mad at that. I kind of like that. So now that my paint is all dry, and I made these decals with my Cricut, and this one says made with love. It means I licked the spoon and kept using it. Oh my goodness, this is hilarious. So anyway, I don't know. I have a sense of humor. I love funny things. And now I'm going to go in with a few little decals that I had left over from another project. These are just from the Dollar Tree wall decals. And they're just like little sprigs of like leaves or branches, or I don't know what they are. But I just placed them on there. I had them left over from another project I didn't use. So I just placed those on in different spots, and pretty much this one is done, except for the little, needs a little bow. I didn't want to use the big wide buffalo check bow that I used before. I wanted to use a smaller one for this one, so I'm just using the thin, more of a gingham black and white ribbon, and I'm going to make another quick little bow, and I'm just going to adhere it with some hot glue, and this one is done. Well, actually the tails are a little bit long, so I do trim these. I trim these off. But yeah, pretty much that's it. After I trim these, this one's done. The only thing I didn't show was covering the back and the hanger. But yeah, this one's done. Super cute. Super cute. This one that says today's menu, and again I made this with my Cricut, and I'm just gonna place it on there. So the sign is gonna say today's menu, eat it or go hungry. And then again I used some more of those sprigs that I had left over, and these all came off of one decal. I think it's the one that said love. It said love in big letters, and then it had all these pieces like surrounding it, but I ended up using the love, but I didn't use all these pieces, so now I am. And again, I'm going to go in with a little piece of the black and white gingham ribbon, and I'm just going to make a quick little bow. This one I don't make too long, I make it just right, and put a little bit of glue and adhere it, and I am done. All done with this one, and I think it's super cute. First thing I picked up is this candle holder, and it's ceramic and it's 50 cents. It was at the Habitat for Humanity Restore. And I also picked up this glass dish from the Dollar Tree, and I'm thinking it's just to hold a candle. And I want to set it on top with some glue. But the problem is that the candle holder has a kind of a deeper part to the top, so I'm gonna have to fill it in with a little piece of wood that I had, just a little piece that I had, a little remnant. So now everything will be nice and level and even, and then everything will be able to stick better. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of this adhesive that's very comparable to E6000, and also some hot glue for the immediate hold, and I'll do that to the dish as well, and then that way everything will be nice and secure and it won't fall off. It'll have some longevity. So I'll just place this on here, press it down, and now I'm going to take 2 strands of beads that I had previously put together for another project, and I'm going to string these around the base of this candle holder, the smaller beads on the top portion and the bigger beads on the bottom portion. And I saw this, the Yami, the Latina next door, did this on her candle holders, and I thought it was so pretty. So I'll link her video where she made this, where she did this particular process, and give her full credit because I saw it on her channel, and so, or in her video. And so I just tie those on there with some baker's twine, and I'm going to secure it with some hot glue. And I think she went in with some spackle as well, but I'm not doing that, and I'm just going to paint it like crazy. So I'm just gonna skip the spackle, but I'm pretty sure she uses spackle. Okay, so now also I picked up this wooden sign, and it's got hangers on top, and this one I picked up at the Goodwill, and it was $4.99, but I got it half off, so it was $2.50, about $2.50. So I'm going to paint all this in the white Waverly chalk paint. So look at this, stark white. So now I'm going to go in with some 100 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to sand it up and get some of the brown to pop. Give it that distressed look that we all like. And with my Cricut, I created these words, these vinyls, and it says welcome-ish. Depends on who you are and how long you stay. Have a nice day. So quick little story on this. We have a couple of cute little dogs. One of them is a Shorkie, and one of them is a Pomeranian. And the Shorkie, well, the Pomeranian is sweet and she loves everybody. The Shorkie, not so much. And so she has anger management problems. So anyway, this is for her because she is so touchy. Oh my goodness. But anyway, I thought this was so cute and we thought it was funny. So yes, this will definitely be at my front door. So maybe it will also help with solicitors as well. We'll see. But look how cute it's looking. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with some of these rub-on transfers that I had left over from another project. I used a little wreath for a project and I still had all these little sprigs. So I'm going to cut out, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, and just place them in certain areas. I'm going to now seal it all up with some dishwasher Mod Podge. So pretty much I'm done with it now. Once it dries, then it's done. And so now we'll just continue with the candle holder, which should be dry. The paint should be dry, and here it is, nice and pretty, all one piece. So I'm taking the same sandpaper and I'm going to rough up a little bit on the edges of the glass dish, and I'm just going to rough it up a little bit. And now I'm going to take some of the Waverly antiquing wax, and I'm going to dry brush a little bit of distressing on the whole candle holder. And so I'm just going to take my time, even though here I'm speeding it up for video purposes, but I just take my time and just give it a little bit of the distressing, a little bit of the antiquing wax, and I also go in with the white chalk paint as well, just to have it all blended. And pretty much I'm done here too. So once the paint dries, it's done. Okay, so I'm going to begin my project with one of these little trays from the Dollar Tree. They're made out of wood, and they have the little handles that you can hold. And I'm going to go in with some Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm going to go ahead and paint this whole little tray. I'm going to do the front, the sides, the bottom, all of it. And once I have it all nice and painted, I'm going to go in with a baby wipe, and I'm going to try to remove the majority of it. I don't want it to be too dark. I just want it to have a light coat. So I'm just going to take this baby wipe and try to remove as much as I can. If it gets a little dark in certain places, I'm not going to be mad at it. I'll just work with it because I like the color. The color is really cute. So I'm just going to remove all this as much as I can, and that helps the drying time as well when you remove the excess. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, so allow it to dry completely. And now I'm going to take these 3 groupings of bottles, and they're like little vases from the dollar spot at Target, and I really like them because number 1, they're different sizes, and number 2, look at that green tone. That's like so pretty to me. I don't know, I just really like the neutral colors, and I like that this green is very light, and it just goes perfectly. So here's the star of the show, the twine. So I'm going to begin by twining up these bottle necks. So once we get done with this, now we're going to set those aside, and we're going to bring back the little tray that should be dry. It doesn't take long since we wiped the majority of the antiquing wax off. And we're going to begin to twine up the little handles on this. That way it has a more cohesive look with the bottles, and you'll have the twine on the bottles and then the twine on the little wooden tray. I'm pretty much done with the twining for now, and it's almost time for the fun stuff. You know what I'm talking about. If you guys have been following me, you know what I love to do to twine. So yeah. 1, 2, 3. Here it is. We're gonna burn off all the little fuzzies. This is my favorite part. I love burning off the fuzzies. And this little lighter, I got it from the Dollar Tree, and it's little and it's pink. Oh my goodness. I was like, yes, you're going home with me. So yes, we're gonna burn off all the little fuzzies off the twine just to give it a more polished look. But this is so fun, and the smell, oh my goodness, the smell is so good. But yeah, it doesn't take long, and it's not dangerous. It's fine as long as you don't hold it up too long. Okay, so now I'm going to wipe down my tabletop and get ready to assemble everything. So I'm going to add the 2 larger vases on the back and the little squatty one in the middle and the front. And now here is the last time that I used the twine, and I'm going to wrap around the bottles. I think I did 3 times. I figured the twine would hold them together, and plus, hey, it's another element of twine. So all I'm going to do now is just finish it off with a little shoelace bow real quick and snip off the excess. I'm going to go in with some of these flowers, these wildflowers from the Dollar Tree. Look, oh my goodness, so cute. And she is done. Look how cute. Well, I sure hope you enjoyed this compilation video of my 12 favorite non-holiday crafts from my other channel, A Dollar Tree Mimi's World. I wanted them to be in this channel in one video. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. I have many more beautiful crafts coming up. And until my next video, stay healthy, safe, and strong, and have a great, great day. Bye-bye.